are on Zoom and we are in Facebook. Beautiful. And I want to welcome everyone to another special edition of Thrive Thursday here in your Redefining Supermom Facebook community. I have the distinct pleasure and honor of introducing you to an amazing woman, a friend of mine who is also a financial educator and super duper passionate about supporting everyone, but especially women, in empowering themselves around finances. I want to introduce you to my friend Ashley Whitaker, and I want to read her bio right now. So, Ashley Whitaker is a financial educator with a proven record of helping families and individuals to become educated about how money works and help them get connected to the top financial products and services in the marketplace in order to drive their financial roadmap forward and closer to financial independence and freedom. Don't we all want that? She came to this work with a passion for education to make a positive difference in people's lives and the desire to empower people in their finances through education and excellent financial products and services. Help me welcome my ladies, Ashley Whitaker. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me today to present to your amazing group of women entrepreneurs. I'm so excited and honored to be here and to share this information and to share my journey a little bit with everyone. And yeah, it's just been such an exciting opportunity. Did someone just exciting opportunity to educate people about how money works? As we all know, we don't really get this education in school when we're growing up, and we make a lot of mistakes along the way and sort of learning as we go. And so it's really our mission to educate people, as many people as possible, about how money works. And especially today, we're going to be talking about women entrepreneurs, women business owners, and money, and that connection, and how important it is as women business owners that we really understand how money works and how it we build it into our lives and into our businesses. Just how much this information will help us move forward on our financial roadmap, not only personally but also professionally. So if it's okay, I guess I can just go right ahead and share the presentation.
Absolutely. And we have Vanessa in the house. Vanessa, welcome. Good to see you. Okay, so it looks, yeah, there we are. There we are. Yeah,
Okay.
so go ahead, Ashley. I think that people will just kind of, pop in as they're able to.
Perfect.
So let's go on with the presentation, and thank you again for being here.
Excellent. Okay, well, this is a presentation that was developed by our company, Wealth Wave, which again is committed to not only educating people about how money works, but also opening up the conversation. I mean, let's face it, not a lot of people are comfortable talking about money. It's one of those topics that can be very emotional. It can also be really scary, but this is so crucial. Women, gals here today, that we really start diving into this topic, because in order for us to be successful personally and in business, we really need to understand how money works. And in order to do that, we have to have the conversation. So let's talk about it.
Absolutely, let's.
So first off, why is it so important that we talk about money as women? Okay. And this, some of these statistics you may already be familiar with, but maybe not. So nearly half of women are not confident about their finances and retirement. Nearly half. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Of women. Okay. So let's look at some of these statistics. Time when women are accomplishing great things, more women than ever are earning college and graduate degrees. We make up nearly half of the workforce, and we hold more than half of the management and professional careers. But women still face obstacles when it comes to our finances.
Ironic, right?
And here's part of the reason why. We are earning 82 cents for every dollar earned by a man. We have to work an extra 47 days to earn what men do. I don't have an extra 47 days in the year. I don't know about you guys. I really don't
No.
have an extra hour, much less an extra 47 days. But that's kind of where the statistics are right now, which is a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
Plus, in addition to that, in terms of making up the money that we're already behind, we take days off of work to care for our children, our parents, and our partners. I don't know about everyone on this particular meeting or call, but I took off 8 years or more to take care of my children full time. So that was definitely quite a setback in my career in terms of earning power and earning potential. So this is a really important piece, especially for women.
Absolutely. And yeah, right. It is usually us who are the caregivers and end up taking that time off, without even thinking about it, right? But we're not necessarily thinking about the long-term impact. But the fact of the matter is that it does have an impact. But I imagine that there's things that we can do to help sort of compensate for that, right? And put ourselves in a good position, would you say?
Absolutely. And that's part of why it's exactly the impetus behind what we're doing today is to open up this conversation. Because when I did it back in the day, there was no conversation about the impacts that this would have on my professional career and on my financial strength individually. There was no conversation. And I think that for a lot of women, that's also the case. And so this is an opportunity to start really having this conversation and not, keeping ourselves in the dark about what these interruptions and these departures from the workforce mean for us. So as long as we start to have that conversation and open up the ability to talk about it is a huge first step. And again, I mean, this slide is talking about interruptions in our career and how that impacts our chances for promotions, higher income levels, and full retirement benefits. There's so many women over this COVID pandemic who have left the workforce because of, the lack of childcare that's been available throughout this pandemic. So this is so relevant, and this has been happening, throughout all of our lives for sure. Women taking steps back, steps away from their career and their earning potential. So it's super important to just recognize and acknowledge that, and then we can start talking about it. So what does that really mean? All these interruptions and departures, although they may be temporary from our careers, is that at the end of the day in retirement, statistically, women are about $1 million behind a man who has continuously stayed in the workforce.
Wow.
So by the time we get to retirement, that's statistically on average, we're about $1 million behind in retirement savings. So
$1 million, ladies. How y'all feel about that? Let's see some comments oh my gosh. That's like a lot of money.
it is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And I don't think we really realize how over time the ability to save and prepare for retirement compounds. And so it does really matter. And so this is really important stuff to talk about. Sure. So the interruptions in our work, in our careers, affect our Social Security also. So women receive about 80% of what retired men receive in Social Security benefits. It's interesting how that relates back to the 82 cents per dollar.
Right.
It really pretty much stays that way all the way to the end. So we are about at 80% of retirement benefits. And I see this all the time with couples in retirement when we look at their picture and what his Social Security benefits are next to hers. I mean, these are real statistics. It's not just, it's definitely happening. Go ahead.
So let me if I'm hearing you correctly, you're telling us that as women, we are making less money, we have access to less retirement benefits than men, and we take more time off from our careers and businesses. So, right? Is that correct?
Yes,
That's
exactly.
like, yeah, that kind of a triple punch, I guess, if you will.
It's about a 20% reduction, right? All of those interruptions and time away and taking care of family and whatever it is that we're doing aside from strictly focusing on our careers and building a retirement. So yeah, that's essentially where the numbers sort of shake out for us.
Mm.
So what that means for us is that we end up shrinking our retirement dreams or even giving up on retirement entirely. So
So what
that's
does that
kind of a
mean?
chilling. That's kind of a chilling fact, isn't it? That we give up on it entirely. I mean, I'm not really okay with accepting that, and I don't know if anyone else is, but I feel like there's more we can do and should be doing to prevent us from having to give up our dreams in retirement.
Absolutely. So when you say that women are giving up on retirement entirely, does that mean that they are working until they die, or is it they're how are they, supporting themselves? How do
Yeah,
they?
I mean, definitely, not stopping working because they can't afford it. And yeah, working until they literally cannot work anymore. So, I mean, that doesn't sound like a pleasant way to spend, the last years. But I mean, that unfortunately is the reality for many women.
Yeah,
So it's definitely something we don't want to wait to have these conversations and to talk about these issues until then, right?
right, absolutely.
So, what are your retirement dreams? Okay, let's think about that. And do you plan to retire? And have you sat down and mapped out what that looks like for you? And or do you think that you're going to need to keep working? So
Mm.
this is a really good time, to sit down and really think about this stuff for yourself, and also with some other women like us who are doing this work and helping women map this out for themselves because this is really important. We work our whole lives and taking care of so many others, so it's important that we take this time to dial into our own dreams when it comes to retirement.
Absolutely.
So most people dream about traveling, spending more time with family and friends, taking care of family, pursuing hobbies, volunteer work, pursuing an encore career, starting a business. That's a
Mhm.
great one. It's interesting. A lot of women no longer see retirement and working as mutually exclusive. So we work with lots of women who want to talk about a retirement career and what that might look
Mhm.
like, sort of shifting away from a traditional 8 to 5 W-2 corporate position and maybe moving into a business of their own where they can dictate when they work, where they work, and who they work with, etc. So that is absolutely a great option for a lot of us when looking into building up a robust retirement.
Absolutely. And it strikes me that oh, is she there?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Whoo, certainly yes, I if anyway. Um what I was starting to say is my thought was, well, I don't know if I want to retire as in completely stop working, but I definitely want to know that I have the option to work or not work as I see fit, right? If I want to take more time off or whatever, that is an option that I have. And so that's what you're speaking to right now about the ladies who start a encore business after they finish out their other career or whatever, because they're doing something that they really enjoy doing, but it's not something that they have to do. So I think as women business owners right here in this group, we are in a really awesome position to be able to create that opportunity for ourselves right now, right? And even for women who are not necessarily in business, that, as it sounds like what you're suggesting, is that starting a business may be a way to help create some of that financial security.
Right. And making up some of that lost income, those lost savings. It's also, something you can do on a part-time basis alongside of your full-time job. And then eventually you can segue and transition over into, that business being your primary source of income, as you get closer to retirement age. So there's so many ways to do that. So all is not lost. If you don't have enough time to save enough money to give you a robust retirement income, there is an alternative, and we call that actually wealth equivalency. So it's the strategy for building, an income stream, not necessarily from the traditional savings, but from building a business. So that's a very legitimate way to do it, and we help people design that for sure.
That sounds
So,
juicy.
what's that?
That sounds juicy.
Yeah, wealth equivalency is a pretty awesome strategy. Would love to sit down and talk with anyone more about it. But it helps people absolutely who are in this position need to catch up. So because of all of these facts, as it's been made pretty clear, we need to start having conversations about money. And this isn't something that is that's done typically. It hasn't been, the norm per se, but it really needs to be, not only for running a robust business of your own, but also setting yourself up individually in a financial way to achieve those goals. Because we do deserve it. We work hard, and we need to have those pieces put in place.
And you know what? Actually, it becomes evident here in this particular piece how we have such uneasy feelings a lot of times around money, right? People talk about money blocks and money mindset, and there definitely is a piece about that I think needs to be addressed in order for us to be comfortable having these conversations about money in the first place, right? We have these myths like, that you have to, work really hard to create it, and that, people that if you set financial goals for yourself, that you're being greedy, and, all of these kind of myths and ideas that we have around money that just make the whole situation a little bit more complicated for ourselves, right? And I think especially for us who have businesses, it is especially crucial that we get comfortable in that space of talking about money, and that there's no shame and there's nothing inherently bad or evil or greedy about wanting to have more money. In fact, as we're discovering here, it's something that we actually have to pay attention to because it's important to our very survival and quality of life, right?
Absolutely. It's like money isn't everything, but it's really related to everything. Somebody
Absolutely.
said that, I think it's really poignant. And this is why I'm so excited to be partnering up with you, Raquel, is because while I may have the strategies to helping to build a financial roadmap, your ability to really work with people on that mindset and that emotional piece is so, so crucial. Because we all come from a money culture. We all came from conversations and ideas about money from our family, from our upbringing. And sometimes we really have to move beyond some of those messages in order to allow ourselves to really invite all of that abundance that we really do deserve, So it's so
Amen. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so in order to, keep this moving forward, not only should we talk about it, but we need to start asking questions. Questions like, how do I protect my family if something happens to me? Do I need to worry about long-term care? I mean, I was just saying to Raquel earlier today that, so many people don't really think about that end of life, huge financial burden that we're going to be facing, most of us. I mean, $250,000 is the average cost of that long-term care, assisted living care, end of life, care. So where's that money going to come from? We need to really talk about it. And how do I minimize my taxes in retirement? That's a really big one too. And if we get an answer with a lot of financial jargon, which is, traditional, we have to insist on the answers that we can understand. So I definitely have been one of those people that was completely in the dark when it came to, financial terms. Back in the day, it was very confusing and things were just over my head. So when we dial into this education, we're really trying to make it very simple and accessible so people really understand. And it's no longer this confusing jargon that's been sort of traditional in the financial services industry.
And I love about the work that you're doing, that you're making financial education available and accessible to everyone in language and terms that they can understand, because it doesn't have to be complicated. And that is what the company is demonstrating with their financial education classes and such, is that everybody needs to have access to this education. I would personally love to see more of the financial education be incorporated in our schools. Wouldn't that be fantastic and awesome if we started talking early with kids about how to be smart with savings and credit card debt and other kinds of debt, and preparing for the future, and all of these things, right?
Huge. I mean, my son at 16, I got him started on these principles. And by 19, my Mother's Day card said, "Thank you so much, Mom, for teaching me about money." He's so happy to have that gift because he has money in the bank. He has significant savings. He knows what he's doing. He has a roadmap for where he's going with his money. So he's so grateful. I wish I had had that, at that age when I got my first job. I pretty much just blew everything on CDs and whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I really didn't have anyone to guide me. And so, it's so important. Starting kids at a young age, it's such a gift to give your kids. Absolutely. I wish that they taught this stuff in school.
Mm.
So this is our book, How Money Works. Stop Being a Sucker. Because let's face it, we all need to learn how money works. We need to start planning for our financial goals, and we need to save more money. If we save $10 a day, we'll have roughly $300 by the end of the month. And if you need to start smaller, then save $5 a day. And by the end of the month, you'll have 150. I mean, anywhere you are, it's not too early or too late to start. And now, however small it is, the place where you're starting is just fine. We have to start taking the small steps every day to help us get where we need to go. So every little bit counts. And this is our main resource that we've put together for teaching people how money works. This book will cover really all the fundamentals that you need to have the information to move forward financially and to develop and to eventually reach financial independence and freedom. So it's all in this book. There isn't a part of it that you don't need. So, but there isn't more that you do in a way. So it's a wonderful, accessible book, very easy to read. So again, and we're happy to provide a copy for everybody on this call today. Or
Can I show it up?
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is the book, ladies. This is, and you'll notice, and I love that you said that it's accessible, because it is very easy to read. You think about, even if a young kid in elementary school could read it, it has like these characters, and it gives tons and tons of examples about different financial scenarios, and illustrating what they call the 7 money milestones. So it's very, very easy to follow. And that's what I love about it, right? It makes it super practical, easy to consume. And again, not overwhelming, right? Which is one of the complaints I think that we have had over the years, that it's so, that language that goes above our head is so complicated, but this just makes it so much easier to understand. So I really appreciate you, Ashley, for the work that you're doing, and books like this one, which, by the way, there is a new version of it coming out soon, isn't there?
Yes, there's actually several. This book it came out at the beginning of 2020. It is now the top selling book on Amazon in the finance sector. So that's really exciting. In 1 year, think about that. Over 500,000 copies have been distributed to families in the country. Now we have a book specifically coming out for women very soon. I believe it's their first quarter this year. So that's super exciting. How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, and it's specifically dedicated to us women and women in finances. So we're super excited about that.
I love it.
Yeah. So we'll definitely keep you guys informed of when that's released. And it also is coming out in Spanish, in Korean, and Chinese this year. So really exciting. They say most financial books suck. This one doesn't.
It's true. It's true. I've read it a couple times already.
Yeah, and
You see that
read
I
it
did
with
my
your
little tab.
children. Yeah, read it with your kids. It's fun. It's a fun read. It's easy. Okay, so this is really what's covered in the book. So we talked about the 7 money milestones. Okay, this is absolutely the foundation of our financial education. It's really not very complicated. But we know that if you do not understand and master all 7 of these milestones, it will be difficult, if not impossible, for you to reach financial independence and financial freedom. So that's really it. That's as simple as it is. You can't have, 4 of them without the other 3. You've got to really have all 7. And those 7 are, first, a financial education, which is what we're starting with right now with the book. We're going to get you a copy, etc. A second is understanding proper protection and how important that is for your family and to protect your income, your assets, etc. In case of a sudden loss. And third is the emergency fund and how important it is to have one and how to use it, where to put it, where to save it, how to save it. Fourth is reducing debt, how to do that efficiently, more quickly than perhaps you've been given or that in the past how to do that. So we really want to help people understand how to reduce debt in the most efficient and effective way. Number 5 is increasing cash flow, right? So people have a really hard time saving enough to get to their retirement goals. And we have, as I mentioned earlier, several ways to help people increase their cash flow. So there's there's ways that we help people do that in a number of ways. 6 is building wealth. Once you have it, how do you make it really work for you? How do you make your money work harder than you do? And that's where that piece comes in, really understanding the impacts of compounding interest and the rule of 72. And 7 is protecting wealth. How do you, once you have a substantial amount of savings, how do you protect it? Protect it from taxes when you pass it on to your heirs. And also protect it from market volatility, down markets. All of those are really, really important to understand, especially when you're in retirement and you're relying on those savings to give you income and sustained income, etc. So these 7 money milestones are what we talk about in the book. And again, it's pretty straightforward. If you understand them and put them into practice, you will have so much going for you in terms of achieving those financial goals you have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to say welcome to Joan, who is here watching with us. Thank you, Joan, for hanging out. And by the way, so you made reference to the book earlier. Want to tell them about the special surprise that we have?
For the book giveaway, or
the book? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, everybody gets a book. Absolutely. Anybody who's on this webinar today, we will send you a book. And it's really cool. In the back of the book, Raquel, I don't know if you can show that, but it does have worksheets in the back to help you get started with your journey to mastering these 7 money milestones. There you go.
Yeah, so you can get started on the...
So no matter where you are on your journey, maybe you're really good at reducing debt, and maybe you're great at saving money, but maybe, you don't understand quite where to put those savings or how to make those savings really work for you. Or maybe you're kind of behind on your estate planning and you need to make sure you've got a trust in place and a will and all of those important documents to take care of your family in case something should happen. So that's a great place to start, is in the back of the book with the workbook. And of course, we're here to guide you, support you, help you in any way on your journey there. So then this next slide I want to talk about is is thinking about our careers, and that we should consider choosing a career that definitely pays more to women and men equally. That's really important, right? I mean, and with a company that doesn't penalize us for time spent taking care of loved ones. So this, we think, is a really important step for women to consider when choosing, to work for a company or choosing a career to go into, is that, we're not going to suffer for or be penalized for taking time away to take care of those things. So I really don't know that those responsibilities are necessarily going to go away for us. So it's kind of, it's something that we really need to start thinking about when we choose where we're going to work and who we're going to work with and what companies, etc. So although we have broken through lots of glass ceilings in many industries, as I'm sure you all are aware, what about financial services? I don't know if you guys know the statistics, but financial advisors in the country, we're really only 16% of financial advisors are women in the country. So what's interesting is once I got into this career, this line of work, I realized that women really are very comfortable talking to other women about their money. And they do love actually working with women financial advisors. So it's a bit of a drag that only 16% of us are women in the country. So think about that. WealthWave, our firm, is actually 40% women. So we are more than double the national average, which is super exciting that we are just, we're busting to move in this industry with our company WealthWave. And so really what's exciting about what we do too is just focusing on the education piece, and then we help and mentor women get involved in financial services so that we can help each other. And again, I was just saying this before, that most women prefer to work with women financial professionals. I mean, we just understand kind of our priorities and how we spend money. And we do make most of the financial decisions in our households, which is kind of interesting too. So as I said, our company is WealthWave. We are the How Money Works company, and we are disrupting the financial services industry on many levels. The first is by having more women advisors than any other firm in the country. We have won that award now 8 years in a row for the top firm in the country with the most female advisors, and we are doubling the national average on that front. So that is one of the ways that we're disrupting the financial services industry, which I find super exciting.
Totally. Absolutely exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. And of course, then also we are disrupting the financial services industry because we offer an opportunity in financial services on a part-time basis. So many women who have other, full-time jobs or family commitments or what have you, we allow people to move into this type of career on a part-time basis, which is actually very unique in this industry. You really can't find that anywhere else. So that's the second way that we're really disrupting this industry. And the third is that we focus on education. That is our primary purpose. It is not selling or products, services, et cetera, although we do have access to, some of the most amazing products on the marketplace. It's education. We really want people to understand their financial picture and how to get a very solid financial roadmap put together to achieve their goals. So those are three big ways, just off the top of my head, that we are really busting through kind of the old traditional ways that the financial services industry has tackled finances. Which
I love it. I think it is, again, very unique. And I love the emphasis on the education part, because I don't know any other company that is doing this level of financial educating the public. And again, there is no obligation at any point to purchase any products. It's simply the education. Like, the whole idea is finding somebody, if you're going to invest in products, find somebody that you're comfortable with, right? And that you want to work with, but have definitely the access to the education so that you feel comfortable and confident in what you're talking about and feel comfortable managing finances and having those conversations with your financial professional.
Absolutely, because what happens when you're educated, right? You make the best decisions for yourself and for your family. So that is really what this is all about for us, is education. And we need more people to help us with this crusade. So if you at all feel empowered or passionate about this crusade to educate people about how money works, please let me know. Because we need a lot of new and fresh faces in the financial services industry, especially for women, to do this education.
Yeah, I love it. The financial educators and financial advisors don't have to look like white guys in suits. Right?
Yes. Well, it's such a, there's more people leaving this industry because of retirement than coming into it. And so we are offering this way of getting into the industry by sort of, dabbling and dipping your toe into it without going, both feet in, which is great. You can see if it appeals to you, if you like it, and what aspects of the industry really resonate with you, whether it's the education piece or whether it's the investment side. It could be that, that's another side business that really appeals to you. So it's an exciting opportunity, not only to be out here in front of everybody and doing this education, but also offering that opportunity too, because it is a great, huge, wide open industry. We're 3 times the size of real estate. I mean, it's a huge industry, so we really need new people. So yeah, that's really what this is all about, you guys. And I think the last slide here is, if you want to learn and teach others, we would love to have you helping us. We teach classes on Zoom, free of charge, of course, as this is. And we come from all backgrounds, all walks of life. And so I encourage any of you, or, opening it up to your network, to join the growing ranks of women financial professionals at WealthWave. And yeah, here's some of the industries and backgrounds that some of us come from. I can check off 2 of these because I was definitely a teacher at one point and a stay-at-home mom at one point. I worked with lawyers. So really, you can come at this from any industry and have fun with it and be successful.
That's awesome. Yeah, so Ashley, thank you so much for this awesome presentation. You've given us a lot to think about, a lot of wonderful information, and most important, some actions that we can start taking. And I think really, as you pointed out, the beginning is educating ourselves. And I love the fact that that WealthWave has all these free educational classes to help us get better informed about our financial choices and working on that map of the 7 money milestones. And again, everybody who is attending this class today has the opportunity to receive that book. If you are interested in receiving a copy of the book, just put in the comments, send me a book, and we'll be happy to connect with you, get your information so we can send you that book that you can read at your leisure. And the other piece is, we have Ashley, and we still have a little bit of time till the top of the hour. So we would love to invite you to pop in your questions. And if you are coming in on replay, just put #replay and still include your questions so that we can address them. Okay, so we have one person who would love the book. Awesome. We would be delighted to send that to you. I will be reaching out, Ms. Harmony. And yeah, so feel free to pop in any questions that you have. And Ashley is happy to entertain any questions right now. So we'll give a few seconds for that to happen. Anything else that you want to add, Ashley?
Well, I was just kind of curious, Raquel, if you would share sort of what drew you to this work. And I mean, you have just jumped right in. It's just been so much fun. And I don't know, it'd be fun to hear your story a little bit.
Yes, well, one of the things that I do is, of course, I work with mom entrepreneurs in coaching. And so, part of the message that I bring is about empowerment, right? Empowering ourselves and going for our big dreams and our big goals. And I think that that goes really hand in hand with this whole piece about getting financially educated and seeking out that financial freedom and protection, etc. So, and I also talk a lot about, which goes along with the coaching, right, is this piece about us women investing in ourselves, in our own personal growth and development, because that is exactly what's going to help open up our biggest dreams, is for us um, become a higher version of ourselves in all aspects. Right? And so again, how are you going to invest in yourself if you don't have the money to do it? So it becomes really, really important. And especially in being in business, all of these pieces become, so much more relevant. So that all of that combined really spoke to me. And that's why I decided to join you in this venture with Wealth Wave and educating and empowering more women around their finances. And even as I'm learning myself, because don't think for a second that I have it all dialed in, ladies. I'm like, also in that process of learning and, getting educated, getting working through those 7 milestones. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's super. That's awesome. And I think that, as business owners, it's a big undertaking becoming an entrepreneur, but it is an excellent way to bolster your financial strength. And one of the things that Wealth Wave also does is not only do we teach these classes on how money works, but we also teach classes on entrepreneurship. Because, I mean, look, we recognize that people generally in just one W-2 job are not going to be able to save and make enough to have a robust retirement or the retirement that they want. So we really are in an economy where people recognize they're going to need a side business, they need a second business or something else to supplement. And so how do you really do that? How do you go from being an employee to an entrepreneur? And how do you take that step? And because it is really different. I mean, it's not show up and do a job and get a paycheck, right? It is a business ownership, and driving a business forward and having success is really, really different. It takes a different sort of skill set, if you will. So one of the things I love that we do, and hopefully you and I will do this together, is teach some of those classes on entrepreneurship. Looking forward to that, definitely. And if anyone's interested in that class, let us know, because we could probably put one together for this group. It's just a great bit of information to kind of help you just bolster that business, entrepreneur journey that you're on. So, or that we're all on, I should say.
Absolutely. And that's my passion. That's why in this particular group, I'm always posting content to help support women entrepreneurs in their journey, because as you said, it does require a whole different way of thinking, a whole different way of approaching approaching life in general, but even more so approaching things like money and all of the things, right? So it's such a big endeavor, right? And so it's my pleasure and honor to support women in that. And I'm always looking for ways to do that even better, do more of it and take it more deep, so that my ladies really feel supported in this community and continue growing.
I think we're going to see a real movement into business ownership moving forward now in this future economy.
Yeah.
So we really are going to see people taking that step to owning their own business.
Yeah.
It's just such a powerful way, like I said, to build that wealth equivalency. So it's exciting.
You know what occurs to me too, Ashley, is I'm thinking of, in particular, single moms that, I've come across a lot of single mom entrepreneurs.
Like me?
Like you, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we talked earlier about the inequities in the earnings that men and women receive, and in the case of a single mom, like you're it, right? A lot of single moms are on their own, and they're the main and only financial provider, and so they have to look out for their kids and also build out that retirement and and all of those pieces. So it becomes really, really important. Can you talk about your own experience as
Yeah,
a
it's so interesting because I really got to a point where I realized that my six-figure income in my corporate job was not going to get me the retirement that I wanted, and that was a really rude awakening. I'll say that. It seemed like the more I made, the more taxes I paid, and I wasn't really bringing home that much more, and I was just really striving to get that top salary and every year and so forth. So I really did that for about 10 years. And then it just occurred to me that, once you get to a certain income level, you either have to make a bigger jump into some, I don't know, similar position in a different industry or something like that. But I just realized I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to get there doing the same corporate grind. And that was about a year and a half ago. And so I was really thankful to have the opportunity to jump in and do my own business. And I think that it's really it's such a powerful way to get out of that dead end corporate. I'm not going to get there no matter how hard I try. I'm not going to get the raises I want. I'm not going to be able to save enough, and et cetera. So it was just it was time. The timing was perfect. I also saw that people as they were getting older in my industry were getting passed over, right, for promotions and job offers, and I just saw the writing on the wall. I was like, I don't really want to be in that position where I'm no longer able to get hired. So it just was one of those things where I decided to take the leap. And I'm just so happy that I did. But yes, was it terrifying? Of course. And there was a lot of anxiety and fear. But the cool thing is that when you jump into entrepreneurship with our company, you are your own business owner, but you have a team of people and mentors to help support you in that journey because we do work as a team. And so it's just such a wonderful environment to jump into that. And it's also, starting a business, most people think, well, I've got to have, an enormous amount of capital. Like, what am I going to do? And so don't be afraid that that's the only way to do it. There are definitely business opportunities out there where you don't need an enormous amount of capital up front. Think about getting your real estate license. It's not a huge amount of money up front to get licensed to do that. It's even less to get into financial services. So there are opportunities out there to be an entrepreneur without like an enormous amount of upfront investment. And so I just can't think of ever going back, to be quite honest. The freedom
I don't want to work for anyone else ever again.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, once you do it, once you take that leap, and also I can live anywhere in the country, wherever my kids end up, wherever my grandchildren end up being, I get to be there and I get to decide, where I work and when I work and how much it works. I love that. Just opening up those opportunities, which I didn't have in my, prior corporate career. So.
Well, that's it. I love that because, here recently I've been talking more about the idea of, and well, I've talked about it, throughout, the idea that we have to sacrifice, ourselves in order to achieve our dreams or in order to be good moms to our kids. And, more and more, I'm just leaning into this idea that we don't have to struggle so hard, that we don't have to sacrifice our well-being or our big dreams in order to get there. In fact, when we sacrifice, we're not giving ourselves the best opportunity and we're not showing up in our best energy. And so I love this idea of being able to create financial security and prosperity and time freedom in a way that isn't what do you call it? Well, that isn't, like it's super hard. Of course, there's always work that we need to put in order to create success, but it doesn't have to be like you were talking about earlier, right? This grind. And that's, unfortunately, where most, people in different, corporate environments are in, is in that grinding, and just hoping that upon retirement, then they can like go and enjoy, their time. But again, without the funds there, then it's going to be harder to do that. So
Yeah, and it's a false sense of security, really. I mean, you could get laid off at any point, like we saw so much during this pandemic. And I just am so grateful that I will not be laid off. I mean, that's just not that happened to me once in my career, and I just promised myself I would never be in that position again where someone else would have control over, my income and whether it stopped or started or how much I made. So even though it seems like a secure place, to have that, consistent paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever, it's kind of a false sense of security. And I think it's just really powerful when people have a second plan. We call it a plan E, not a plan A or B or C or whatever, but a plan E, an entrepreneurship plan.
okay, that's
Everybody
why.
needs to have a plan E. Even if you stay in your W-2 job, have something else that, inspires you and maybe makes you an extra grand or two a month that, that fills out that retirement savings for you. And then it's there for you. If the pandemic hits like it did last year and you get laid off, well, guess what? You've got something to fall back on. It's just a smart, strategic way to do it. We help people on that journey because we recognize, that's a really smart way to do it.
Yeah. And it could be multiple businesses, right? As
It could be what?
multiple businesses, meaning like, for the ladies, for example, in this community, we all have, our own businesses already, and this can be kind of an added piece, right, to that main business. And, for some people, they may decide that they really love being in the, financial services industry, like in your case, right, where you jumped in with both feet and said, this is my thing. It's the only thing, I'm going to do this. And for some people like myself, it's like, well, I have my coaching business and that's, where my heart is. And I also love this piece about empowering women around their finances. So, but, that's kind of a second business for me. And I just love having that opportunity available to me.
Yeah, it's absolutely so related to what you're doing already, right?
Yeah.
And coaching people with the business for sure. Just out of curiosity, how many people did we have listening today or joining us today?
Well, let's see. So we have, well, there's been people kind of popping in and out, which often
Gotcha.
happens with live broadcasts. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and I suspect that other people will. Some people who registered told me that they were going to catch it on the replay. So if you do catch this on replay, ladies, remember, put in your comments, put in your questions. If you are interested in getting a copy of the How Money Works, Don't Be a Sucker book, I highly, highly recommend it. It's free for you. Just let me know, put it in the comments that you're interested in getting a copy, and we will make sure that you receive that. As mentioned earlier, also Ashley does free educational classes around financial education.
And free coaching. Yeah, free financial coaching. I mean, anybody who wants to sit down and look at what they're doing and if it's going to get them where they want to go, we do that too. There's no charge or cost for that at all.
Beautiful. I love it. Price is right.
Right? How can you beat it? There's nothing wrong with an audit. A free audit? I'll take it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, so I don't see any questions in the comments. So what do you say we start wrapping this up?
Yeah, I know it's a difficult topic, especially to do kind of in a public forum, because there's a lot of emotion behind how we perceive money and how we relate to money. But we really do want to hear your stories. I mean, we all heard different messages, right? When we were kids, money doesn't grow on trees, or maybe there was never enough money. Maybe, I mean, it's just everyone comes from a different kind of culture and messages around money. So we understand it's a sensitive topic, but that's why we're doing this. And that's why we really want to open up the lines of communication and let you know that there's those of us here who've been through, who've struggled, who've had financial struggles, who've been, to ground zero and then climbed back up out of it, who've been through divorce or whatever, and career changes, etc. and launching a business and doing all of those scary things and going through those hardships. So you're not alone, and we're here for you. And we would love to hear your stories and love to help you map out, your financial journey, much the way that we've done for ourselves. So please engage with this education in any way that you're comfortable. And we'd love to talk with you guys individually. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you everybody for joining us today. Again, this was a special edition of Thrive Thursday. Do stay tuned for future trainings as I do every Thursday. I switch the time, again, it's now at 10 a.m. every Thursday right here inside your Redefining Supermom Facebook community. And look for additional trainings. And of course, this will not be the last time that Ashley will be popping in here. So if you would like to see more of that, or there are particular topics around finances that you want to learn more about, feel free to let me know. That would be fantastic. I love to, again, serve my community better all the time. And so let me know what you would like to see more of, and I will bring it. So Ashley, again, thank you so very much for your generous being here today and giving of your time and of your wisdom. And I know that you really, really care about female entrepreneurs in particular, and everybody just getting, their finances in order and being in a good place. So thank you again. We will wrap this up for today. Remember, ladies, as we wrap up, that a mom is a woman first, and we'll see you on the next one.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so that is, I stopped the live stream and I'm going to stop recording.